So welcome back. Today I'm going to be sharing this recipe with you because from time to time we all do chicken, and this at this time of year just is a little bit different, but it's easy enough for someone who's never done one before to just put this in the oven and be really happy with the result. So at this time of year, which is cold and miserable, just after Christmas, you do see these really nice shallots, and they're really nice at this time of year. I've got some potatoes and I've got a selection of quite sunny type vegetables. Not a lot because they can be quite pricey. I've got some lemons and some orange, and I have rosemary because it's one of the few herbs still going in the garden. I have some garlic, and I have a wonderful chicken. This is one of those chickens that has been walking around in the sunshine, and it's pretty small, but with all of this it'll be fine. As per usual, I'm going to be roasting in one of these. It's a Tupperware pot, and I'm just going to put my vegetables in the bottom. I don't think we need to do anything in particular with the shallots. They will come out sweet and unctuous and really good. I'm adding one of these because aubergine, if it's cooked gently in the bottom, it becomes soft and creamy in the mouth, and it blots up all the flavours. So it's a very good ingredient to add in small pieces. So this goes in. A red pepper. If you wanted to substitute it for a yellow pepper, that would be fine. Now I'm going to be giving all my little bits of vegetables to my chickens, because at this time of year they really do appreciate some veggies like the rest of us. The nice thing about cooking with your veggies underneath your chicken is that everything gets infused with chicken. It's a really nice smell to have. This is just a different shape to the standard green pepper. And at this time of year, we get these in the shops. For those of you who are new to the channel, that's because I'm down in the south of France, and the Basques like this long, beautiful pepper. And it is slightly sweeter. And I'm trying to get something that's colourful for this grey, drab, moody time of year. Just something nice to lift the spirits. And chicken is one of Paul's favourites. Now I've got an orange, and I have, this is one of these that's arrived with a little leaf on it. And I'm going to take a little bit of the skin, and I'm peeling it. Can you see really finely? You can see there's no pith on it. Yes, I have washed it, Paul. I've actually used a little brush on it, and it wasn't a sprayed one, and if I didn't cook it pretty soon it would go bad. We'll probably only see these in the shops for maybe 10 days. So this is all just really because that's what everybody had, and I just know rosemary works very well with lemon, which is what I'm going to put on the potatoes, and it also works awfully well with orange. And you can see I'm just taking off. There we are, that'll be enough. Now I take some olive oil, and because I want them to roast, and I'm just going to take a few sprigs like this. Now I'm not pulling off whole leaves, because if I put in a leaf then you're going to get a bit of that in your mouth. but little bits like that, probably 3 is quite enough. Then I'm just going to mix it so everything gets covered in oil, and that will produce a really nice, deliciously roasty smell. Oh, nearly forgot my garlic. All of these are really good summer flavours. This is just a sort of echo of summer because we've still got to get through February. I always think it can be quite an icky time of year. And the last one. If you don't like garlic, don't use it. Oh, a little piece ran away. Now, I don't know if you can see, everything is oily. So it just won't boil. I don't want it boiling there. Now, here is my beautiful chicken. And the reason I've got this one is because it was damaged here. And that was enough for them to not sell full price. So I've only paid the price of an ordinary chicken. Wash my hands. I'm going to put a bit of salt on the chicken. I'm going to take a couple of sprigs and I'm going to poke it underneath the skin, just like that. It's difficult to get it in, you know. It's been fed on some fancy diet, and this should be one of the loveliest chickens we've had. And I'm going to turn it over, and I want to clean my hands again. I'm going to put a bit of salt on this side, and I'm going to oil this, particularly this little damaged piece, because I don't want the skin protects it, and there's a little bit of fat underneath the skin, and that there. Now that will lay nice and flat and it will cook better. By turning it upside down, the juice runs that way and it protects Paul's breast meat because he doesn't like it dry. He likes it beautifully cooked and tender, which means it has to cook for a reasonably long time. And this way, it's a big compromise. He doesn't happen to like the skin crispy. If I wanted to do both, then at the last 10 minutes, I would turn it over and take the lid off so it crispies the skin. But he doesn't particularly like to eat the skin, so I'm not worried. But I do, so mine is on the top because I like the legs. Now, this particular pot, I always use this because it produces such a good result. It produces a little oven inside and it's really hot. You can use a Dutch oven. A Dutch oven would do the same thing, but this is light and I have got little weak arms, so that's why I use this. And it's a really generous quantity of oil. And these are 4 potatoes. And I am cutting them at an angle and then the other angle. So I get these sort of lovely wedges. I want as many edges and points as I can get on my potatoes. I've also chosen potatoes that are fluffy, so they would make very good purees and things like that, as opposed to the sort that go into salads. And that's quite important because you want the outside to be nice and crispy, the inside to be soft and fluffy. These are agita because that's what they have where I live. But it depends what you have where you live. I never saw these in England. They would make reasonably good chips, mashed potato, that sort of potato, not the waxy kind. Right, that's that. Now then, I'm pulling off little sprigs of this again. This is in fact not a French recipe. This is an Italian recipe. You find that around here they use a lot of thyme, but I have been asked by some English friends to use some rosemary because they are rather fond of rosemary. Now, that will be enough. These I washed, Paul, and these are organic. And again, I'm producing ultra thin. I don't want the pith, I just want these very, very fine slithers of the zest. Oh, I do love doing this. It is a nice smell. Well, that's going to be all over your potatoes. This is a very typical dish. I believe it's Tuscany, which makes sense really. If you've got a longer dish cooking, you may have to start this before and then add this. You want these to cook about an hour and 10 minutes, something like that. I haven't timed these, so the oven is on a temperature that suits the chicken, and these will fit around them. There, that's a really, really tasty recipe. Now I'm just going to cover everything together, and you can see it's such a lovely sunshine colour, isn't it, for this grey day time of year. Yes, even in the south of France it gets miserable weather. We've got nighttime temperatures of about 4 degrees. Our chickens are still laying, but they are eating us out of house and home at the moment. It's just dreary, isn't it, Paul? And it gets dark, I suppose, at 6 o'clock at the moment. It's the end of January. But it's just, we've had one day that was warm in the sunshine, and the rest of the time it's just been not that wonderful. And before that we had lots and lots of rain and floods, and it's not been great weather really for a couple of months. So this is a cheer you up sunshine dish for this time of year. And anyone can make this, as you can see how easy it is. If you have to open roast your chicken, then that's fine, do so. I would suggest that you cover it in a piece of tin foil in the roasting tray and take it off 15 minutes before the end, and that will give you succulent and it will give you a crispy skin. Now, I put olive oil over everything, and everything's sitting on a little piece of wonderful flavour. I wanted to put a touch of salt on these. As you know, I don't really use very much salt at all. Now that is one fabulous recipe. I mean, it's so simple. You've still got your lemons to use for another recipe. And I've got oven at 175. And in this goes. That's your chicken in. It's a tiny chicken, and the vegetables are not heavy and dense, so it will cook quite quickly. And I should be back in about an hour, 10 minutes. See you soon. It's been an hour and 10 minutes. Fabulous potatoes. Don't they look wonderful? And everything smells very lemony. The chicken on its little pile of roasted vegetables. It's got a beautiful colour. There is your chicken. And these are the fabulous vegetables all round. And we didn't add any liquid, if you remember. So this is just the juice from the bird. This one's done its gymnastics, isn't it? Look at the colour of that. That is a real chicken from a farm. And the reason it is so yellow is because it's been fed a vegetable-based diet. Now I'm just going to cut a piece off for Paul. This is where we put our little flavourings that he doesn't really want. And I'm just going to cut a slice so you can see. Ordinarily, I would leave this for a few minutes, but I wanted you to see. Look how moist it is. Look, that's a perfect chicken. And I'll let Paul now do the serving. If you wanted to make this into a gravy, you've only got to thicken it with a little bit of corn flour. Pour it out, stick it in a saucepan and mix in some corn flour and just bring it, not a lot of corn flour, a teaspoon or two into a small quantity like that. Bring it up to a boil, thicken it, and now you have something you can pour over and it looks luscious. But I want to show you these incredible potatoes because they are looking wonderful. See how crisp they've gone. And they're crunchy and you've got little bits of flavourings. They are magnificent. And look, they're all soft and fluffy on the inside. See, all soft and fluffy. They're just what you want. This is a beautiful dinner. And I think it took me 10 minutes to get it into the oven from the ingredients. Yes, you had to wait your hour, 10 minutes. But if you come home from work and you have all your vegetables pre-prepared, you pop it in the pot, you put it in the oven, you go and have a nice bath, you have a little drink. And by the time you are comfortable and relaxed, you take it out and now you're in a great mood for a lovely evening in front of a wonderful movie. That beats a takeaway going out in the cold, doesn't it? And queuing up. And it costs a fraction. Enjoy.